be reminded of that. But before I know it, I'm right back in charge. And there's a surefire sign when you think you're in charge is that you don't feel peace. The court said you don't feel peace. You don't feel safe. So some of you might have thought you was in charge a little bit today. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Is that possible?
It's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah. How did it work out for you?
Not so much.
I know the feeling, brother. I know the feeling. We're going to be, if you're in the book, we're on page 261 in the Course of Love. We're right there.
Can I bother you to ask you who sings that song?
Her name is Ricky Byers. She's Michael Beckwith's wife. The one who has a Agape church. Okay. So we're going to be on paragraph 31-34, and I'm going to read through it, and then we're going to talk about it and see if we can get what the juice is out of it. It says this aspect of giving and receiving is called relationship. Giving and receiving as one allows you to experience who you are and thus to know and remember who you are. It is in your recognition of the truth about your brother and sister that you recognize the truth about yourself. It is only in relationship that you recognize the truth about your brother and sister, because it's only in relationship that you are experiencing anything. You do not exist outside of relationship, just as your mind does not exist outside of oneness. Your mind doesn't exist outside of oneness. Your mind doesn't exist outside of oneness. Your experience here is but an extension of mind into a realm in which experience can occur. I love that. I'll say it again. Your experience here is just an extension of your mind. You have extended your mind into a realm in which you could have experiences. You have extended your mind into a realm here that you can have experiences. You have extended your mind into this realm so that you can have experiences occur. Are you having experiences occur? If you are, then you have extended your mind into this realm. Your ego has made of this something different than it is. In other words, rather than an extension of mind, your experience has become a projection of your ego. And this can change. Rather than experiencing an extension of my thought, I'm experiencing projections that are coming from my ego. I'm experiencing the projections that are coming from the idea that I'm separate. I'm experiencing the projections that are coming from the idea that I am separate from you. I'm experiencing the projection of my idea that I'm separate and different from you. Instead of extending the power of my mind that could create anything in my perception instantly, I'm projecting my ego, which means I'm taking all my ideas about myself and I'm projecting it into everything outside of me and then experiencing that instead of experiencing the creativity that would come from the extension of my mind. The mind is the creator of everything, according to this. So we could be creating and partying like a big dog, but what we're doing is projecting all of our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and emotions and ideas that are based on fear and separation into everybody around us, then being attracted to them because they're holding our thoughts for us. So the people that you're attracted to are the people who are carrying your thoughts around that you might not want to own up to. So if you're surrounded by people who seem like they're really loving, and it looks like you don't feel that loving, then that means that you have more loving thoughts than you think you do. And so therefore you are projecting all the good things about yourself and everybody around you and then admiring them as if they have some qualities you wish you had. But those qualities are your qualities, but you're giving them away to them. And if you think you're really cool and you got your stuff together and you all look loving and cool and good and you're surrounded by a bunch of folk that's deep calls for God, that's always seem to be going off on you, you got disagreements with, you don't like them, they don't like you, then those are your own projections of your ego about thoughts you have about yourself that's not so loving that you're projecting into other people. The purpose of that is so that you can play the game of separation. The purpose of that is so we can play like we're different from each other. So the purpose of projecting my fearful thoughts into everybody else is for me to think I'm different. So it's just a way of being separate. This can change. So the course is saying in 36:25, 31:25, is saying that your mind has extended into a realm that experience can occur. This is what the physical world is. It's a realm that experience occurs because your mind is being extended into it. So no longer let your experience here just be a projection of fear and conflict, which is a projection of the ego. Any thoughts or any clarification I can do about what I just said in that paragraph? Everybody clear that it's only in relationship that you experience what you are? And then in a relationship, you're either extending your thoughts or you're projecting your thoughts. There's only extension or projection. Either I'm extending it, which means what I'm seeing out there is me, or I'm projecting and I'm saying what I'm seeing out there isn't me. But it's in relationship that you find out what that is. And you're in relationship with everything. So everything is teaching you what you are. So what kind of day you had today is a good example of what you think you are, but it has nothing to do with what you are. Because you are love. You are pure and powerful and innocent and abundant and free and you know, just all good stuff.
That's right.
That's all you really are. Just good stuff.
Just good stuff.
Juicy.
Just good, yeah, just juicy, good stuff.
It's all good stuff.
That's all you are. All right. Are we clear about that? Now, we might not realize that that's what we are. But if we don't realize that's what we are, that would be a
Projection.
there you
Yes.
go. All right. Projection. So, to the lady over there with the... So, anybody have any comments about that paragraph but me? I have a tendency to ask for comments and then make them myself.
So you need to have a say.
I'm trying to create a life that I give myself everything I want. Then I don't have to hunt and ask for nobody else to give it to me. It's a
You
good
got
plan.
one over here.
Okay.
Could you state again what you said about when you look out and you see good people
Yeah.
and love?
Yeah, if you're a person that you think that you are that you don't deserve the friends and loved ones and the kind of people in your life because they look like they're better than you, more loving than you, more giving than you, you know, then and you're feeling kind of inferior to them, that's you looking at your own denied thoughts of power. So you projected the projection isn't just projecting out what you don't like about yourself. You can project what's really cool about yourself, but you just can't. You're the kind of person that thinks self-debasement is humility. So being humble means you never say, I'm wonderful, I'm great, I'm powerful, I'm loved, I'm beautiful. Or it's that seen as vain. So if you think, putting yourself down is the way to go, then you'll project all your loving thoughts into everybody around you and it'll look like everybody's nicer than you than you be to them. But you don't realize that's not the way it works. You wouldn't attract anybody in your life that you didn't deserve because of who you are. It just means you need to get on it and start feeling about yourself the way that you think how well they feel about themselves, because that's your own thoughts. You are that cool, loving person. That's the rumor. Now, what I really like is that there's a line in the course that says, even if you don't know how to do something, if it's something really cool, you should still side with the idea of it happening. I may not understand how to be as abundant as I think I want to be, but I still should side with the idea of me being abundant. So even if I say you're a really beautiful, innocent, powerful person, and you don't see how that could be true, what you should do is still side with that idea and say, well, I'm willing for that idea to be true, even though I think you're a bad judge of character. And that's what I do. Like, I've had some people say some things to me recently that was so cool that my first instinct was to deflect it. And then because I didn't believe it, it was like too good. You know what I'm saying? And so it brought up the part of me that thought that I didn't deserve to hear something like that. And then I caught myself and I went, well, I side with that idea. And then I said, I love that idea to be true. See, see, you're still joining with the idea so the idea can manifest. You don't have to know how. How is the booby prize? It slows us down. Okay. All right. Anybody else? I just, that was a great question. Did that help? Did you hear it again?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Do you have people around you that treat you nicer sometimes and you think you deserve to be treated, or they recognize you're good more than you see it in yourself?
All the above.
Okay. All right. Well, now you know a lot about yourself you might not realize when you came in the room. Just, I mean, we are your projections. You're surrounded by throbbing projections.
Something like that.
How does that make you feel? I see a smile on your face. I see it getting a little red too. When I blush, I turn purple. That's how you be able to tell.
Yes.
My aura is the same color as my blushing.
Yeah.
All right, if y'all don't have no comment, I go to the next paragraph. We're almost to the last chapter of the book, which is chapter 32. I haven't decided what I'm doing next. I'm at the crossroads.
Branching of the road.
As you interact with your brothers and sisters, you seek to get to know them as you interact with them. I'm interacting with you because I'm seeking to what? Get to know you. You do this so that you can find what you have in common and go on from there to shared experiences. First, I want to find out what you and I have in common. Then I want to go on from there to us talking about where we've had the same kind of experiences. Then it says, you also seek to know your brothers and sisters so that you will come to know what to expect from them. The better I know you, the more I know what I can get at you. The better I know what to expect from you, I get to know you really good. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty straight up in there. You also seek to know your brothers and sisters so you can know what to expect from them. You know, and everybody has somebody that they know that there are certain things they can expect from them, and they give it to them. And it's important to know who those people are. You know, if I want to feel bad about myself and to feel negative, I know who to call. If I want to feel supported, I know who to call. If I want to judge and I want somebody to judge with me, I know who to call. When I want to dance, I want to party, I know who to call. You know what I'm saying? Whatever need I have, I know that the Holy Spirit meets every need that we think we have, as long as we let the Holy Spirit meet it instead of us. Then it says, once you determine a brother's or sister's usual mode of behavior, deviations from that usual mode concern you. I kind of got you figured out, and when you act in a way that wasn't the way I think you act, we got a little problem going on here. I completely judged you, and I completely know how I think you should be at all times. How dare you not be that way? We're going to have to have a conversation. We're going to have to talk about this, because I got you figured out. So that I know what to expect from you. Because I'm trying to get to know you, see what we have in common, and see what our shared experiences are, so that I'll know what to get from you and what I can expect from you. And so once I have that figured out, and you deviate from that behavior, then I am concerned. So, can I have a talk with you? I'm concerned about you. You don't seem to be like being my slave like you usually are. You may determine someone is in a mood and see that the effects of that mood are either good or bad for either you or them. So you're in a mood, and your mood is either good for me or bad for me. I'm in the mood for love. Oh, okay, that's a good mood. Okay? You know, I don't feel like being around you right now. That's a bad mood. So the truth is, I'm trying to determine what kind of mood you're in. Right? Right? Anybody been with somebody trying to determine what kind of mood they in? Okay, I'm going to give you a quick solution. Ask them.
Wow.
What would you like to do with me right now? I was in a workshop one time, and you were supposed to sit in front of a person. Recently, as a matter of fact, you were supposed to sit in front of a person. And it was a workshop that had to do with the best way and more powerful ways to get in touch with your sexual energy and the right way to use it. And so it was great to be in a room full of people that wanted to have the right perception of their sexual energy. And so it was like, in one exercise, we were sitting in front of each other. It was about being authentic and being real and not hiding your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Because we won, so we should be able to talk to ourselves. And so you're supposed to look at the person and say, one thing I'd like to do with you is, and then you tell them honestly as you can what you'd like to do with them. And it was interesting to see what people were saying that they wanted to do with each other, because what was happening was making them share things that they normally wouldn't share because they would have felt too bashful to share it or too inhibited to share it. And then rather than you responding to the person that just told you what they wanted to do with you, you would ask another person. You would be then expected to tell another person what you want to do with them, and not the person who just told you what they wanted to do with you. And so it was really interesting. It was really interesting. What the young lady said to me. You want to know what the young lady said to me?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, come on.
If I could just get you to listen to the chorus of love with such attention. I know what this class wants to talk about. I know what they want a new perception of. Yeah. Come on, tell me. Well, what she said to me was she felt really safe that she wanted to dance with me. That there was something about my energy that made her want to move her hips. and feel like she could dance in a way that's more moving from her hips, which she didn't feel like she could normally do with many men, because she felt safe with me, and she felt like she could just really kind of let herself express herself in a way that she normally wouldn't, because she felt like I would be cool with that and respect her, whatever her safety zone or level was. So it was really good, because I wouldn't have thought that. You know, I wouldn't have thought that would what was going through my mind. Just you don't know. So that's what I realized. I project. I think I know where somebody's coming from. I don't have any idea at all. Then I deal with them as if they're coming from where I've decided they are coming from. And that's how we mess up. We interpret the motivation of other people and then deal with them as if our interpretation was correct.
Wait, can you repeat that?
You know. Yeah, we interpret the motivation of other people and then deal with our interpretation as if I have interpreted that you don't like me, so I treat you like you don't like me, even though I was the one that projected on you that you didn't like me. So what I did was interpreted your motivation, you don't like me, and then I'm dealing with you as if you don't like me, just because I projected on you that you don't like me. So I'm going to subconsciously probably do something to make you not like me, and then I'll think I was right about the way I assessed the situation.
I think you're so intuitive.
Yeah, we decide how we want to feel about somebody first, then we build a case. Either the case why I should like them or the case why I shouldn't like them. But we decide not to like them first. You know that's true when you don't like somebody you don't even know.
Right. Totally.
That's how you can really tell you're doing that. You know, you haven't had a conversation with the person. You go, I don't like them, and that couldn't be nothing but your projection. You haven't said one word to them. But I've done that before.
Yeah.
I've had seen people walk in to something. I just, I'm projecting on them. I don't like them. At least I try to tell the truth about it. I'm projecting on them. I don't like them. You know, and the truth is I don't like myself, and what I don't like about myself, I'm projecting on them. You know, so they really get me in touch with that. I keep saying that over and over again because there's some bottom line thoughts and beliefs that we need to get and we really want to have the change we want, and that's one of them. There is nobody out there doing anything to us at all. What we're doing is we are ordering up everything that's happening to us because we are unlimited spiritual beings who create through our thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs, and we draw to us the things that are a reflection of our own consciousness. So in a sense, nobody's doing anything to you. They're just doing what you want them to do. And the good thing about them doing it is it gives you a chance to reclaim the power that you've given away to that thing that you are upset about that they're doing. It's just an area where you've given your own power away and you can call it back to you. So everybody that's in your life, especially those who cause you discomfort, to give you an opportunity to reclaim some power that you gave away to them by getting upset about whatever it is you're upset about. So everybody's giving you a chance to become more powerful, especially the ones that you feel uncomfortable around, because that's where you hid your power. That's what the rumor is. Okay. It says, since you live in a world of such extreme uncertainty, I love that. One of your highest requirements of those you have relationships with is a mode of behavior that allows you to know what to expect. Thus, as you move from acquaintances to relationships of a deeper nature, you quickly determine the nature of those relationships and have an investment in those relationships staying the same. We have an investment in our relationships staying the same, especially the ones that we've invested the most time with the most expectations in. sometimes when you read this stuff, it really doesn't seem like you're doing a lot of people a lot of favor by getting in relationship with them. You know, if you're really taking these kind of attitudes, it's really the person's kind of better off without you, unless they're going to use whatever it is you're reflecting back to them, and you're going to use whatever they're reflecting back to you to get in touch with something that you need to reclaim some power back for yourself in. So they're really making you more powerful, even if they upset you. Looked at correctly. If you look at it correctly, they're all bringing you gifts. And some of y'all might be laden with many gifts. The universe might be being especially good to some of us here tonight. But there's so many opportunities to take your power back that you gave away to somebody. Then it says, since this is most often true for your relationships as well, them as well, you two become locked into unexpected sameness. If I got to stay the same way that you always want me to be for you to feel okay, and you got to stay the same way you always have been for me to feel okay, we are locking each other in nothing but a dull, routine sameness. And most people would rather have dull, routine sameness than to have a relationship that has unlimited potential for new experiences that allow them to have things and experience things and know things that they've never known before, because you have to be willing to be edgy. You have to be willing to go right beyond what you see as your limitations and try something new and different. But you tend to not try new and different things with people that you don't feel secure with. You know, it's like feeling safe seems to me to be the key to experimentation and open-mindedness is safety. Whoever you feel the safest with, you know how there's some people you do this around, but then there's some people you don't do that around. Because you feel safer with them. There's some people you talk to without censoring yourself at all. There's some people you talk to and you filtering everything you say. So they really know less about you than anybody. I like to be around people that don't censor my thoughts, which can sometimes be challenging when you play a role of a teacher of any kind. People have a tendency to project their morals on you and then judge you according to what they would or would not do, or what they thought is proper, they think is proper or not proper. So it can be a very freeing thing to do, but it can also be an area where I get in touch with where I'm limiting myself. That I get in touch with where I'm limiting myself. See, that's what's really happening. So anybody got any thoughts about what it said about relationships, expectations, and behavior?
Well, that last thing about being open, about who you are, it gets you in trouble when your perception is wrong and you're open about this jacked up perception that you're projecting.
A jacked up perception.
Yeah.
That's a nice description of it.
Yeah.
A jacked up perception. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I had to learn the truth, because I wanted to know when to be open and when maybe it'd be safer for me not to be so open. But I would know that if I didn't recognize what love was and what love wasn't, or trying to, you know. Yeah. Anybody else about any questions or comments about this section? The juice and the fun come out of the class as we use this as an opportunity to talk about strange stuff that we can't talk about. We feel like at other times and places with other people, that's what we can do here. All those secret thoughts about the truth. Yeah. Yeah. So next time you have something show up in your life that's making you uncomfortable, realize that what's happening is you get an opportunity to have a relationship where you made a stronger person in instead of one that you become weaker in, by the way you handle how you feel, and you be with how you feel, and you feel how you feel. So right now, that's what I'm working on, that's what I'm doing. So I put myself in situations that there's a possibility that I could have some new experience that would get me in touch with something inside myself that I needed to. One thing that was really interested in that whole sexual energy class was that there was a point where you was kind of like supposed to like just see who you naturally drifted to as a partner, and then once y'all just kind of everybody's kind of found each other, then you would be sitting in front of each other for whatever the next thing we were going to do. Okay, so I'm in the room and everybody's kind of filling out who they're going to be a partner with, who they're going to do, and I was the only one that didn't have nobody. I know why I'm the only one that don't have nobody. I'm the only one that's black. That's why I'm sitting up here by myself. I'm black. Okay. Now, I remember when I would have used that thought. Instead of the thought, right now I need to love myself and be in partnership with myself and find out what it is within myself that I need to make contact with on my own. Because if I was to be honest with myself, I really wanted to interact with myself and get in touch with my own energy in that moment. And then my outer reality reflected that back to me, because what I gave is what I received. I gave the energy of I wanted to kind of deal with myself. It was interesting that everyone felt that energy and responded to it without me saying anything. And then the next time when I felt like I had gone through that process and I was open to having someone in partnership with me, then it was like 3 different people showed up. So we're constantly getting messages that everything that's happening to you is what you're requesting and what you're asking for, even if you don't realize it. I'm gonna keep saying that because that's where our forgiveness and our power is located. I forgive you when I know you're giving me what I want and you're not doing something to me, but you're actually giving me what I'm asking for in that moment. End of grievance. Grievances come from believing that there's something happening to you that you didn't ask for. Or something has happened to you that was not part of your soul growth. That's what a grievance is. Okay, everybody with me on that? Yeah. So I could have went into, boy, somehow I know that I have a feeling of rejection, but rejection is always protection and redirection. So whenever you're rejected, that's just you being pointed in a different direction from the direction that you were trying to go in for your own good. So I wasn't being rejected, I was being protected, and I was having an opportunity to get in touch with my own self. Okay. So when you say you want to grow, then you're going to draw relationships to you, and then you'll see how you operate on them in terms of your expectations and what the mode of behavior is you think the person should be giving you all the time, is what he's saying here. Any thoughts about that paragraph? Anybody have any thoughts about the paragraph? Anything that I've said? What I wrote down was you always want to know what to expect from people's behavior in order to feel safe. You want your relationships and people's behavior to stay the same the deeper you get to know them, so that you will feel like you can depend on them. You become locked in the expectation of sameness, which limits both of your expressions and growth, because you expect me to be the same all the time. That doesn't leave any room for me to grow. So it also says, it also kills the excitement of the relationship. If I already know what you're going to do before you do it all the time, it's not going to exactly keep me very excited, or you either. So an exciting relationship of any kind is on the other side of supporting the person being who they are, so that you can become a constant surprise to each other in terms of what you both express. Okay, so dull relationships come from fear. The duller your relationship, the more afraid you are. That's what I think. Because you all are exciting, infinite beings who have all kinds of potential in all kinds of ways. There's no reason I should be bored, or you should be bored yourself or with me. So I want my expectation to have no expectations. Okay, that's my expectation is to have no expectations. And if I do have expectations, be honest about what those expectations are, say what those expectations are, give the other person an opportunity to say I can meet those expectations or not. And then whatever they can or do want to do, you do that, and then what they don't want to do, you don't do that. It's a very complicated procedure. Because as long as you leave yourself open to have any experience you really want, you don't have to limit yourself to one person giving it to you. Take the pressure off of them. Let them do with you what they want to do. If you want to do it too. That's the other part. It has to be mutual. Does that make sense to everybody? You know, if I want to study a course of love, I know who would want to study a course of love with me. I wouldn't try to do it with somebody that's a traditional person. You know, but the ego would tell me to do that. And I wouldn't do that to change them. Maybe I can get them into the course of love. So I'm going to ask my uncle, who's a born-again Christian, is all up and down the Bible. I'm going to see if I can get into the course of love, rather than go, you know, I know Cheryl is really into the course of love. Let's meet for lunch and talk about some of the principles in the book, because we both studied it together. Because what would happen in that case is we move further faster and I wake up quicker. But if I'm talking about something with somebody who disagrees with me, the course says it weakens both of your belief in it. So so I don't try to get into those kind of debates with people, because the only thing you do is you're just trying to weaken each other's beliefs. So if it's something you know you want to believe, it would be better to join with somebody who wants to believe it too, so y'all will strengthen it. And people say, well, shouldn't you be objective and you shouldn't be around people who are just too much like you? Well, it depends. If you're trying to grow in some particular area, it's supported to have someone who shares that belief system, because you've already made your mind up and that you checked some things out. And this is what you've chosen out of everything you checked out so far. Right? I mean, by the time you get to I want to do the course of love, you probably also checked out other things. So right now, that's the way you feel like you want to go. Then since you made that decision after checking things out, then you join with other people who've also made that decision, then you move faster. So in that case, it's good to be around people who have a common state of mind and who are like you. While you're still searching and you're not sure what you want to do, then keep on checking out everything and putting yourself in different situations and see what situation seems to work for you. But the ones you find, you know, they're seeking, but there's also finding. Sometimes we get so caught up in the seeking, we forget that there's something called finding. And then once you find it, then do it. Like when I found the course, it was what I was looking for. Then I started doing the course, and people were trying to get me to do other things, but I was no longer seeking because I had found what was working for me. So all I wanted to do was master the thing that I found that I knew worked for me. They hadn't found the thing for them, so they were still seeking and still trying to get me to go on the journey with them seeking, like I was still seeking. So if you haven't found the thing that you have a passion for yet, then you haven't found your path yet. You're seeking. So keep on checking out different stuff. See how easy the truth is? It's always easier than the way we make up stuff to be. Keep what you do want, let go of what you don't want. Keep it as long as you want it, let it go when you don't want it anymore. That's a rough rule. Right? One relationship in which this is not the case is the relationship of a teacher and student. Another relationship a teacher and student relationship is a relationship where you don't expect the person to stay the same. That you want to see the person change and be, you know what I'm saying? Like the biggest example of how much this group would have changed would be after the length of time we've all been around each other, how comfortable we would feel around each other, communicating, sharing, talking, discussing, hugging. There would be some difference in our behavior if there really had been any real difference in the way we feel about each other. So as a teacher, you're always looking for where is there any kind of change in behavior as a result of what we've done? Or do we still act the exact same way that we always did when we first came in the door? Are we trapped in our personality? Some people are trapped in their personality. They go, well, I've always been quiet. Or I'm the kind of person that never goes out in crowds. Or I'm the kind of person, they're trapped in their personality. They don't realize that that's just a choice they're making, and they could check out something totally different and then give themselves a different experience, but they've just always been quiet. You know. So I'm trying to free myself by freeing you. That's the only way I can be free, is to free you. But it's easy to free you. How many of you all have I tried to interfere with anything you tried to do all week? Have y'all ever done? Have you come home late at night with the walk of shame, and then I call you on the phone and talk. Well, what was you doing? But if you were special enough, I would. Don't be giving my stuff away. Okay, now. I know I'm saying stuff that's never crossed y'all's mind. That's why you just stunned, because you've never had any of these thoughts before. You're so holy.
That's right.
We are so holy, aren't we? Another relationship that expects change and growth is that of parent to child. These two relationships have comprised your idea of our Father and me, as you have realized that you are here to learn. Now, with a clear learning goal in mind, these idealized relationships must be broadened so that they are seen in all rather than in a few, and so that they are seen clearly as what they really are. Eventually, I want to learn to see all of you the way I learned to see any one of you correctly. If I learn to see one of you correctly, I want to be able to extend that to all of you. And I want to start with the person that I think is closest to me, as far as trying to practice the truth. So that means if I want to have a relationship that works, the first thing I got to do is cultivate the art of listening. Not interpreting, but listening. You know, I'm not going to interpret what you say. I'm just going to listen to what you say. And then I'm going to say back to you what you said and make sure that I heard what you said right. You'd be surprised at how quick that'll give it a defensiveness in the communication. If you just mirror back to a person what they just said to you without interpreting it. What you really mean, I heard you say that earlier, but what you really mean is that blah, 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 you know, so cut out the interpretation and just hear what someone's saying the way they say it. How can somebody argue with you about mirroring back to them what they just said to you, which proves you heard them? You know what I'm saying? As Cheryl said, Earl, I really wish you were more unselfish. And I said, Cheryl, you just said you really wish I was more unselfish. And she goes, no, I didn't. Ain't no way she could say that because all I did was mirror back to her what she said to me. But if she had said, Earl, I really think that you need to be unselfish. And I said, well, what you're really saying is I need to learn how to give more down to the Salvation Army. See, I just gave her my interpretation of what she just said, which meant I didn't hear her at all, and so then we stay separate. One thing that's good about listening to what a person says and then saying it back to them is that you can't be spacing on them while they're talking and then say something back to them that they just said to you. In other words, you can't be sitting around thinking about what you're going to say next. If you got to say back to the person what you heard them say. So it's a real great way to be present with people. There are a lot of communication techniques. Relationships don't have to be hard. I always say that over and over again. It's just people haven't decided to have peace yet. So they're just using the relationship to punish themselves for a while. And that's okay. That's cool, because that's just another opportunity for you to reclaim your power. That's what it's for. Any questions about that paragraph? Or anything we talked about so far? That's the end of that chapter. And we're going into chapter 32. And we'll take a few minutes to just kind of go over some of the key points of what we've already talked about. But I also would like to ask you this question. How does what you just heard make you feel? Not what you think, but who's willing to say how they feel right now? Thank you.
It's like I feel like at peace and simplified by being like, oh yeah, I feel like I'm remembering. I feel like when you remind me that it's so much more simple than how I like to complicate things. And what's been cracking me up this whole time is that the idea of that I project something and then I think you don't like me because I projected it onto you, and then I think I have the best intuition in the world because every single time I project that on you, you go away. So I think I'm being really intuitive. Anyway, that's
yeah, it's easy to, it's funny when you think your intuition is your projection.
Right.
Because you're going to really trust it because that's what you projected anyway. So that's what you think is going on. And
then you send them away every time. And you're like, why can't I find it? You know?
Yeah.
Because you keep sending it away.
Thank you. That's a major realization. It's a major realization to really realize that anything that's in your life is there because you want it, and anything that's not is there because you don't need it. That's deep too. It's nothing is the course says nothing is absent that you need. If you need it, it's there. If it's not there, if they're not there, you don't need them in this moment.
You know what else has been going through my mind, and then I'll shut up, I promise, because I talk too much, is the whole thing about if it feels complicated and heavy, it's not God's will. If it's light and simple. Yeah. And that's, I guess, when you said, how does this stuff make you feel? Remembering just makes me feel light and simple. Yeah,
that's such a good point that you're making also, because what you have, now some people go, well, something can be God's will and it can be all hard and complicated. Well, if that's the line of communication you want to establish, that's okay. If you want to go, God, you can be communicating with me and it's going to be a struggle and it's going to be hard and it's just going to be something that makes me stronger, that's fine. But you could also say, God, my higher self, the way that I want to communicate with you is that if it's something that you want me to do, it'll be something that flows and it's easy and I feel light. And if it's something you don't want me to do, it'll be something that's a struggle and it's heavy and I don't really feel like it. You could also make that agreement. And I've tried both of them, and I like this second way that I do. If it's in divine order, it's a flow. If there's willingness or resistance, either I'm moving in the direction of it and because I'm willing and it's willing toward me and I'm willing toward it, or there's some resistance. If there's some resistance, it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means there's something about it I need to take a look at that I haven't really taken a look at yet, that I need to take a better look at.
And it might just be your perception.
In most cases, 99.9% it is. Yeah. And I would say 100%, but I just can't give up that much. But I would say it's 100% my perception. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody that's want to care to say how they feel right now? Lisa?
So I love that you're in that place and that you can feel like I have a different perception. Sometimes some of the stuff that I read and learn when I'm in your class, it doesn't feel right, and I don't know, and then I'll feel good about it later, or I'm using your tools. I want to thank you for this class because I've seen a couple things this last week that is a real huge shift, and maybe I'll just tell you about it later, but it's really exciting. But sometimes like I'll get a knot in my chest or something. So what's that? Just something.
Okay, that's
Is
where
that
you
okay?
well that's perfectly okay. That's just telling you where you have some resistance.
Okay.
That's all.
That's what you were just saying.
Yeah. Okay, I got it.
Perfect.
It doesn't mean the idea is wrong or that it wouldn't be helpful, that it
No.
isn't cool. It's just saying right now I've got some resistance to that, so there's something I need to ask about that to see it some kind of other way. So maybe I don't need to move in that direction yet until I'm seeing it clearly.
Okay.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Willingness, resistance, love, and fear. Love is willingness, resistance is fear. Mm-hmm.
I always feel good things when I'm taking in and listening anything course. But if I try to interpret, like you said, or I think instead of feel, that's a totally different story, which makes me wonder about the extending of your mind. Is it not, maybe I should not, it's not safe maybe to extend my mind. Maybe I keep my mind here and I just try to more with feeling things.
Well, actually, the course would actually say that, it's in the context that it's using it is really basically that this is all mind. It would contain within your mind is your feelings. Like your feelings are nothing but thoughts that you've given emotionally charged meanings. A feeling is just a thought that you've given an emotionally charged meaning. So it's all thought. Everything is ultimately thought, but not thought as we think of thought. What we call thought is really just images that we're making up in our minds and projecting out, and then we're calling it thinking. I'm not really thinking you right now, I'm imaging you right now. Thought is eternal. Real thought is the opposite of what we're doing. What we're doing is making up images and then projecting the images out.
Like the hamster cage.
Yeah, I mean, right now I have a thought about you, and then I'm projecting that thought about you out, and then I'm looking at it right now. So I'm really looking at an image that I'm making.
Are you projecting an image of confusion?
Yeah, sometimes. And confusion is a very high state. The only thing the confusion means is that I've been willing to let go of my hold on one way of thinking, but I haven't completely embraced a new way of thinking yet. So confusion is a natural stage of changing your mind. I don't believe people who say that they've changed and didn't go through any disorientation or confusion. I don't think it's possible, and everything I've ever studied says it's not possible. You're not going to let go of something that you believe to your core and then accept something that's totally different without going through some form of stress. So either you think you've changed and you haven't, which is what most people do. Because if they're really living into this stuff that we're talking about, they're going through some changes. You ain't gonna be getting this stuff and sitting around every week totally calm and peaceful and then saying, I'm really getting what they're saying. That's bull. You're not getting any of it. You're just hearing words and sentences. Because the ones you start trying to live your life like everything really is a projection of your own consciousness, and you're really innocent, and everybody's one with you, and nobody's doing anything to you, and you're out in the world every day dealing with all the stuff that you're going to go through some stress because it's going to be some times it's going to be hard for you to say, I asked for that. So for you to say that I'm really believing my thought is creative and that everything that's ever happened to me has been created by my mind, yet I'm completely unmoved and unchanged in my personality, you're kidding yourself. You haven't changed at all. When you start living this stuff, you're going to go into disorientation and confusion for a while. There's no way that you can change and not change. It doesn't go together. I've changed, but nothing's changed about me. But I've really changed. You had your hand up again, yeah. So I invite you to be with me in seeing that the confusion that you feel is a good sign. Side with that, even if you don't understand it. See, that's what I meant earlier at the top of the class when I said side with things you don't understand that you want to be true. I'd rather side with the idea that my confusion is serving a useful purpose right now than side with an idea that I'm just confused to be confused. It actually means you heard something, that you actually heard something that challenged something you already believe. That's what confusion is once you get on the spiritual path. Now, before you get on the spiritual path, it's just a way to punish yourself. After you get on the spiritual path, confusion usually is coming about because you're thinking something different than how you've been thinking. So that's a different kind of confusion than just being a person in the world confused as to what wrong thing to do next, which is confusion in the world. It's out of all these illusions, which one can I choose that I think is going to give me something that all the rest of them never did? I'm confused. Which next bad person can I form a relationship with? Or a good person? You know what I'm saying? It's like what we think of choices are usually just different forms of the same thing we've been doing all the time. We're just trying to do it with somebody else. You know, that's not a change. That's a fluctuation. Fluctuation, yeah.
If I have everything that I need, then is it just ego and my mind thinking that I need something else, but really that's just a want maybe then?
Yeah, I mean, we really don't, yeah, absolutely. Every need that we think we have, we're making up because we're complete and whole and there's nothing missing inside of us. And so there's really no need for anything outside of ourselves. But we can't own that while we're still in the phase of trying to pretend that we're separate, because the only way you can be separate is to lose sight of your wholeness. So it's just kind of built in. As long as I think I'm separate, I must also think there's something outside of me that I need to get. So, but now you've decided you don't want to be separate anymore. And since you've decided you don't want to be separate anymore, it calls for a new way of looking at things than you did when you wanted to be separate. So you can't, so what we're doing is being asked to look at things from a totally different angle than we've ever looked at them before. But we keep trying to take the new information and somehow or another take it and adjust it up into what we already believe, and it drives us crazy because it won't work. So that's why figuring it out doesn't work for a person who's really trying to know what true peace is. Figuring it out is the old, you figured it out in the old thought system. In the new thought system, you listen and then you do as you're told so that you can be happy. Yeah, brother.
Along the lines of Kim's question, I think where she was going with it originally was.
Are you interpreting?
Why don't you just
my
ask them?
interpretation? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Where was she going?
Yeah, I've heard you say enough times so that I finally am accepting it. Don't analyze.
Right.
You know, feel it.
Yeah.
Don't analyze. Don't make it complicated. It's simple.
Right.
And I, like I say, that's something that I've become accepting of. And I think that's where you're going with your question, or at least that was an element.
No, your question, the question had something to do with, you know, if you don't need anything from the inside, and then then you're projecting something out that you think you want. You know, it's like your question. What my point is, the whole idea that we're not whole is an error. That's my point. My point is that there's nothing missing in us, but we think there is, because that's the way we set the game up. Because you can't pretend you're separate without thinking that there's some lack or difference you got to go out here and meet and get. That's just part of the game. If you're gonna have a cake, you gotta have flour.
I'm
You know what I'm
excited
saying?
with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the once you realize that it's just a game you're playing called enlightenment, and that you've set some things up for you to go through in order to reach enlightenment as part of your own personal plan, then you begin to understand that everything that's happening to you is part of the plan to wake you up. And so you stop having such a negative attitude about what's ever going on in your life right now. The only reason why a person has a negative attitude about it is they don't somehow think it's serving them. But if you knew that every single thing that happened to you was being planned by someone greater than you, that only had your greatest joy and happiness as the ultimate outcome, you'd have an entirely different attitude about what went on today.
And you're not as in much fear.
Right, you wouldn't have, right, because the fear is that,
Courageous
the Course
steps.
says all fear is fear of loss. So any form of fear is the idea that I'm gonna lose something as a result of what I'm doing or whatever is happening around me. I'm gonna lose, that's why I'm jealous. I'm gonna lose, that's why I'm afraid. I'm gonna lose, that's why I'm angry. I'm gonna lose, that's why I'm depressed. So all fear is just a form of thinking that I'm gonna lose something. And once you realize at a core level that you're only gonna gain, then you lose your fear of loss. It's interesting. You lose your fear of loss, and then you're not afraid anymore.
Because you know you can't lose.
Because you know you can't lose.
Yeah.
So then there's no need to be afraid. If I knew I couldn't lose you, I wouldn't get upset when you went out with somebody else. I'm only going to get afraid if I think I can lose something. If I knew, and on top of that, if I thought that your going out was going to make you love me more, I would encourage it. If I thought it was going to be something that made it better for me, then I'm going to do it. The Course uses our own sense of self-preservation in our favor. It'll say, you know you're going to look out for yourself first. So the best thing you can do for yourself is free everybody around you and let them be. If you really thought, oh, that's gonna make things better for me, for real, that you go, hey, I won't hesitate to do that because it's going to bring more prosperity and abundance and love and truth in my own life. So I'm going to do it because it's going to benefit me. There's nothing wrong with doing something because you think it's going to benefit you. There's nothing wrong with doing it. As a matter of fact, that would be the most natural way for you to get it done, is that you would think it was going to be something that benefited you. That's a good thing. You're not going to do it as fast because you think it's going to benefit me, as you would do it if you thought it was going to get real. You know what I'm saying? You know, you're going to do it if you think it's going to benefit you. So it's good to do things you think is going to benefit you. It's just that the Course tricks us. The Course of Love and all these books, they trick us. Say, well, what's going to be good for you is giving the freedom and the love and support to the people around you. And then that's going to create more love and peace and support in your own life. So you go, well, shoot, I want love, peace, and support in my own life, so I'm going to start treating you better because that's what I want to do. Then people say, well, you shouldn't be doing it just because you're going to receive something. Well, yeah, that's why you do everything anyway. So why are you playing like you don't already do that? You already do stuff because you think it's going to benefit you some kind of way. The book is just saying don't feel guilty about that. That's okay. Do it for a good reason now. Then our ego comes, oh no, I just can't give that to you because I want to receive. Yes, you can. You better start giving what you want to receive so you can have it. That's how you receive it. You know, the people who are never understanding, never compassion, never listen to anybody, they going through some stuff. They want everybody to listen to them, have compassion for them, and everything. And then when people need it from them, they're not nowhere around. But as soon as they want it, they're like, how come you're not giving it to me? They don't realize that, hey, you better start giving what you want to receive. That's what I'm doing. As much as I possibly can, I'm giving what I want to receive. He says, answer people in terms of what you want to, tell people what you want to hear. The ego says, what do you mean tell people what you want to hear? That's the only thing you're hearing anyway. They're not hearing you no way. So it's not even about them hearing you because they're not hearing you no way. They're just hearing their interpretation of what you're saying. They're just hearing their interpretation of what you're saying. They're just hearing their interpretation of what you're saying. They're just hearing their interpretation of what you're saying. They're not hearing you. So then you should say to them what you want to hear. So, well, I'm going to say, oh, what do I want to hear? Well, I want to hear right now that what that person is doing is a call for love, and that's the way that person can reclaim some power, and that's the way that person can get in touch with their spiritual identity. That's the way that person, you know what I'm saying? In other words, I'm going to start saying what I would like to hear, because I'm the only one listening to me. Hello, you need to start saying what you want to hear because you're the only one that's really hearing you. Everybody else is hearing themselves. They're not hearing you.
Are we hearing them though?
No.
Okay, so we're only hearing ourselves.
Right, you're only hearing yourself too. That's it. That's exactly. That's why you should say what you want to hear. Ain't nobody else listening to you no way. And that's a basic spiritual truth. I mean, when you really get that, it'll freak you out. But it's the truth. When you really realize there's nobody listening, there's nobody else out there. Until you're telling the truth, you're not hearing anything but your own thoughts. The truth is the same for everybody, but illusions are all individual. That's why we all got our individual thoughts, feelings, beliefs, emotions. That's why they're an illusion, because nobody knows about it until you tell them. It can't be real. If it's real, everybody knows it without you saying anything. If it's real, you don't have to tell me that everybody in this room needs to breathe and that the oxygen was cut off for 15 minutes, all our bodies be laying on the floor. It's because that's the way it really is. Now, I don't know what you did today. So you got to tell me what that was, because that's not real.
Right.
So if it's not real, which means it's not now, and which means that it's not something that everybody's got to experience, then it's not real. If it's not something that all of us got to experience, it's not real. If it's not something that all of us sharing, it's not real. It's just your individual thing. So people are feeling guilty about stuff that they're making up individually. And they're beating themselves up about it. You're making up your own morals and then beating yourself up for breaking them. That's what's so funny. We make up our own rules about what's right and wrong, and then we beat ourselves up for the stuff nobody else told us we had to make up as right and wrong. You're the one that makes yourself feel guilty about eating a piece of cake that you swore you shouldn't eat. Nobody else has said that's a real rule. You could make a rule that eating cake is good for me.
Yes!
Eating lots of cake bring me to enlightenment.
Yes!
You could just easily saying that and eating cake is going to make me feel really bad or whatever. You see what I'm saying? People are mostly feeling guilty about rules that they made up and not any kind of universal law.
Yay.
It's only the universal laws that never change and you have to obey. But if it's a universal law, you don't have any choice, so don't even worry about it. It's not like you're going to get up this morning and go, oh, I think, do I breathe today? Let me see. You don't even have that conversation with yourself.
Do I deserve?
Do I deserve to breathe?
I'm not good enough.
Does air like that person more than it likes me? What can I do to make air like me more? So the only thing you're really concerned about are things that don't matter.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
it. You know what I'm saying? By definition, the thing I'm worried about and concerned about doesn't matter. Because if it really mattered, I don't even have a choice in it. I'm going to have to deal with it. I'm going to have to deal with what is. I don't have any choice about dealing with what is. I do have a choice about dealing with what isn't. So what thing that's not true am I going to decide not to believe and do today? What thing that's not true that everybody else is doing out there, but I'm going to decide I'm not going to judge myself by that thing that's not true. It really doesn't matter whether I have a $200,000 car. So I can make the decision whether I'm going to judge myself by that or not, because it's an illusion. So since that's an illusion, whether I have a $200,000 car or a $5,000 car, I can only be confused when I'm trying to choose between illusions. If it's the truth, there is no choice. I have to breathe. So I don't have to that choice. But it is a choice among things that aren't true. So all the things you're trying to choose between, both of them are equally unreal.
So go with the one that makes you feel lighter.
There you
Doesn't
go!
matter
Boom!
anyway.
Boom! Neither one of these things are real, but this one makes me feel better. And I'm going to use this thing to remind me of the truth about who I really am and get me in touch with my power. And I'm going to use this thing to help me love myself more and see myself as innocent more. I'm going to use this thing to feel better about myself and hopefully to help that other person feel better about themselves. But it's equally unreal. What am I willing to do? What do I have resistance to do? What am I willing to do? What do I have resistance? Where do I have willingness? Where do I have resistance? Where do I have willingness? Where do I have, okay, I have willingness, resistance, willingness, resistance. So if you get it right, then at some point, all day will be willingness. All day will be, I will to do this, I will to do that, I will to go there, I will to go over there, I will to express myself here, I will to express myself there. And that's what you call an incredible day, where you feel like everything that's happening is what you will. And that's where we're headed. But we've been programmed to do things we don't like to do all the time. So we're actually more programmed to do things we resist than things that we're willing to do. We're even programmed to be attracted to people who we resist or who we are resisted by than those who are willing. Because we've been programmed, no pain, no gain, got to have struggle if you want to grow. So you see what I'm saying?
Which is not real.
Which is not real,
Just another
because nothing that
choice
loves you would require that you be anything but yourself in order for you to be happy. Something that doesn't love you is always trying to get you to change. Who loves me for who I am? Well, it's the person who's trying to change me the least. Because that'd be the definition of loving me the way I am. I love you the way you are, not change. That's the way we do it in the world. I love you the way you are, but if you just tweak that over there, then I could really love you even more. But I really love you for yourself, except for that. If you just do that one little thing, then I love you completely. And it's really more like if I did that one little thing I'm trying to get you to do, then I love myself completely. Because what you're pointing out to me is that one little thing in myself that I need to love and forgive. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for making me aware of what I need to let go of so I can be completely happy. And that's what you did tonight. You helped me recognize what I need to let go of so I can be completely happy. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for coming out and helping me remember. I'm on fire. That's right, I am. That's right, I got at you because that Kundalini is running amok.
Nice. We should dance naked around
You didn't do the
that
love
fire.
opera.
Just kidding, I don't know.
Were you there last Saturday night? I didn't see you when I was running naked around the fire. I'm sure I would have remembered. Hey, y'all! Thank you for financial expressions of appreciation. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Really. Those in internet land, I'm available for one-on-one clarity sessions, getting a chance to go within and see what it is we need to do to remove the blocks. What it is that you need to do to remove the blocks to your awareness of love. thank you out there in internet land for all the emails and comments and support that I've been receiving through you. I'm glad that you like my blue shirt. You know who I'm talking to. I get two distinct comments. Comments
your
from
shirt.
of what I've been teaching and comments about what I'm wearing. I don't know what truth you said, but damn that red shirt. I saw God in your shirt there. That's my workbook lesson. God is in my shirt.
Church.
There's a lesson in the Course in Miracles. You're supposed to say God is in this toothpaste. God is, you know, so God is in that shirt. Yeah.
It go in the back.
If you haven't had a chance to sign the mailing list, please do so. And thank you from the bottom and the sides and the insides and everything else of my heart for being here. And the thought I want to end with today is giving and receiving is the same, and all that I give is given to myself. Giving and receiving is the same. We're going to take a minute. Giving and receiving is the same, and all that I give is given to myself. Okay? Giving and receiving is the same. All that I give is given to myself. Giving and receiving is the same. All that I give is given to myself. Giving and receiving is the same. All that I give is given to myself. Giving and receiving is the same. All that I give is given to myself. Giving and receiving is the same. All that I give is given to myself. Giving and receiving is the same. All that I give is given to myself. Giving and receiving is the same. All that I give is given to myself. Giving and receiving is the same. All that I give is given to myself. What? Giving and receiving is the same. All that I give is given to myself. What? Giving and receiving is the same. For a minute. All that I give is given to myself. Giving and receiving is the same. Tell somebody. All that I give is given to myself. Giving and receiving is the same, girlfriend. All that I give is given to myself. Giving and receiving is the same. Yeah. All that I give is given to myself. Giving and receiving is the same. I say, all that I give is given to myself. And wow. That's what it is. Giving and receiving is the same. All that I give is given to myself, so I should be giving what I want to receive. And everything that upsets me is another opportunity for me to regain my power that I gave away to that. By owning that I created it, I reclaim my power from it. And then I remind myself I'm grateful I could even be so powerful as to create it, even if I didn't like it. And that I am as God created me. I'm an unlimited being. That's the process in reclaiming your power in uncomfortable situations. And realizing that the relationship is just an opportunity for you to find out how you really feel about yourself, no matter what it is, no matter what kind it is, and you're innocent. All right?
All right.
All right, okay. See you next time.